Breaking news story in Alameda, the press conference regarding the 4 people who died in a shooting this morning.
Called in to report that their neighbor was a victim of a shooting. Our officers got out to the scene fairly quickly and were able to locate the neighbor. He was suffering from at least one apparent gunshot wound. While officers were attending to this individual, they became focused on a nearby residence. Officers cleared that residence and began moving towards that residence when an individual came to the front door. He was detained. Officers made entry into the residence to clear it. While clearing it, they found several additional individuals suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. The individual who had come out that was detained was later arrested. He's been arrested, and our investigation suggests that he was a shooter in this incident. So far, I can tell you that 4 individuals have passed away. They did not survive their injuries. There's a 5th that's in critical condition. 3 are adults. 1 is a 6-year-old child, and the one that's in critical condition is 1 year old. The relations are that the persons that are deceased and their relation to the person that was arrested is that it was his father-in-law, his mother-in-law, his wife, his eldest son, and his youngest son. The youngest son is the one that's in critical condition. I'll take questions. I want you all to know that this investigation is ongoing, so I'll be limited in what I can say.
Has he confessed, Chief?
Our investigators are speaking with him. We're working on that.
Were there additional shooting victims or just the 5 you listed?
Just the 5.
Did he have other children that survived? Maybe not victims, but other kids there.
So there were 2. So everyone in the house, besides him, were shot. And of those, there's one child that has survived but is in critical condition.
Any possible motive?
We're still investigating that.
Have you ever been to his house before?
They recently moved to that address, so there are not a lot of calls. I believe there was one call where someone from the residence reported being a victim of a theft.
What was his demeanor when officers got to the door and just saw him there?
I think he did not resist. I think he was surprised our officers got there fairly quickly.
Do you know how many shots were fired in all?
I don't know exactly how many, but there were multiple.
Did he have any blood on him?
I don't know.
What, was it a handgun or rifle?
I don't know. We've recovered multiple firearms from inside the residence.
And the shots took place all inside the home?
At this time, that's what I believe.
Can you go through again when your officers first encountered him? I wasn't there. Were they already in the house and he showed up at the front door, or he showed up at the front door when they arrived?
The officers were in front of the residence, providing aid to his father-in-law. And at that time, he started coming out the front door of his residence, at which point officers detained him.
Did he have a gun when he came out?
I don't know.
So was the father-in-law injured outside or injured and then he walked outside?
We believe that I'm not sure where exactly he was injured. We believe that he was injured inside the home or on the property and then went to his neighbor's house to call for help.
Do we know if there was a fight that led up to this?
We're still investigating that.
Did the father-in-law say anything before he passed? Do you know, or your officers hear him say anything?
So we are looking to see the father-in-law did make some statements. We're still trying to review those and understand what was said.
Is there officer body-worn camera video that might have recorded those statements of those interactions with the injured father-in-law?
Our officers do wear a body-worn camera. I'm not sure if it captured that conversation.
So they found a different room?
I don't know.
And I'm sure you all obviously witness a lot of crimes, a lot of situations like this, or I shouldn't say like this, but crimes. When it impacts kids, I know that really impacts police officers. How are you doing? How is your staff doing today?
Yeah, this is a tragic and sad incident. And I'll say this, these are the actions of a coward. I know what happened. I have some idea of what happened. And this person's actions were those of a coward.
How are your officers doing? We're all parents, most of us. It rocked us, to be honest about it.
Yeah, our officers are hurt. We have immediately last night we called out our peer support teams. Our officers they're professionals, but they're also human beings, and so they are doing their best that they can. But they're going to stay focused on making sure that this family receives the justice that they deserve.
Is this person cooperating with detectives and answering questions at this time?
I know our detectives are speaking with him. I haven't reviewed the interview itself.
You said they recently moved to town. Do you know how they moved from within Alameda or from another community?
I don't know, but I just know that them arriving at that location is fairly new.
And did the in-laws live in that location as well?
I don't know.
And was he under the influence of drugs, alcohol?
I don't know.
And you said you kind of had an idea of what happened. Does that mean you kind of know the motive, but you just can't tell us, or you don't want to speculate yet?
No, I know that a 6-year-old and a 1-year-old were shot, and so were elderly people, and so that's what I do know, and I can with that information say that what he did was tragic, sad, and the actions of a coward.
Any age on the suspect?
I don't. He's an older gentleman.
Thank you, Chief.
Did any of the other victims say anything before they passed? Just like a farm, maybe the child, the children, or the mother-in-law or wife?
I'm not aware of what other statements have been said. All right. Thank you all. We'll keep you posted.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, and there you just saw live that press conference with Alameda police giving us the latest on that shooting this morning, in which they said a man they suspect shot his wife, his in-laws, and then turned the gun on his children, too. One 6 years old who also died, and one who's 1 year old who's in the hospital right now with critical injuries. We'll look for more information to come out later in the day as they're questioning that father right now. Get to the breaking news here from overnight. 3 people, including a child, were shot and killed in Alameda.
Police also found multiple other gunshot victims at that home. Cromwell's Will Tran is live in Alameda with the latest. Hi, Will.
Horrible news to pass along. I just confirmed that another person has died from the shooting that took place at a home right behind me at around 9 o'clock last night. We do know that one person at least was taken to the hospital, and over the last hour, I have been able to confirm an additional person has died, making it 3 adults and 1 child who were shot at the home at 400 Kitty Hawk Road, just 1 block from the beach. Now, let me show you the video. This all went down at around 9 o'clock last night when neighbors heard gunshots. That's when they called 911. Police officers rushed to the scene. They saw 1 person in front of the house. They went inside the house and saw additional victims. They do know that there is no threat to the community, saying that they did, shortly after arriving, arrested 1 person who they believe is a person of interest behind these shootings. Now, I got a chance to talk to a neighbor. She did not hear the gunshots, but she did hear the lights, the sirens, the ambulances rushing to the scene. She maintained her composure during my interview with her until she said she saw the child in the ambulance.
I raised my kids here. I'm a mom, I'm a grandma. And you can't process how that happened. And I can't.
It appears that all the victims are family members. Their names have not been released to the public at this particular time. There has been no motive released. I do know that the Alameda Police Department, they're still working the case. Obviously, they're still here, and they plan to give an update a little bit later today. Back to you.
Well, that is just heartbreaking. Thank you for that update.
I'm going to give you my #1 tip to get over a breakup, and that is going to be going to therapy. Going to therapy helped me so much. It could help for so many other reasons.
New at 11, so many sleepless nights. The manager of a Fremont gas station says he's fed up with all the crime that's hit his business. The station is the target of thieves who've stolen thousands of gallons of diesel fuel. That manager says it's just one example of crime that they're dealing with on a regular basis. NBC's Pete Serratos is in Fremont with the details.
And they were able to open it, and this opens, and there's a computer inside, and that's when they're able to manipulate it.
Shaheen Ollier manages this Valero gas station along Maury Avenue in Fremont and is fed up with the crime he sees at the station every day.
I get woken up at least 2 or 3 times a night with some kind of alarm going off. What's going on? I have to drive over here.
He's sharing surveillance images of a recent incident in May involving suspects using a flatbed truck with a 55-gallon container to steal thousands of gallons of diesel fuel worth tens of thousands of dollars. He says the individuals used a universal key to open up the gas pumps to give them unlimited gas. It's the 3rd time this has happened at the location since 2014.
As business owners, we're already struggling. We're fighting tooth and nail to try and stay competitive to everyone else.
And Shaheen says crime at the gas station is becoming the norm. This video from June shows suspects trying to break into the store after hours, with Fremont PD telling him that the same group stole ATMs from nearby liquor stores on the same night. And in this shocking video, Shaheen tells a man to leave the gas station after a customer pumping gas said he was sexually harassing her. The man went back to his car, turned around, and pointed a gun at him.
And he pointed right at my head, and I begged for my life. Of course, at that instance, I had nothing else to do, and I walked back, called 911.
Shaheen says police did arrest that man. We reached out to Fremont PD tonight about the diesel thefts case, and they tell us it's still under investigation. Shaheen says Fremont PD is doing the best they can, and all he can do is try to stay a step ahead of the criminals, but it's no easy task.
Better alarm systems, better security cameras. Unfortunately, you might not sleep well, but it works.
In Fremont, Pete Serratos, NBC Bay Area News.
Unlock incredible deals and explore the best selection of musical equipment at Sweetwater. From stage to studio.
Oakland Mayor Shane Tao now facing a recall election in November. The group behind the recall just wrapped up a press conference to celebrate the making of the ballot.
She's a corrupt mayor. She should never have been in office. She's corrupt. She's dishonest. She is incompetent, and she needs to go.
She's got to go.
Go.
Well, the recall backers also address allegations that they have refused to hand over fundraising records to the Public Ethics Commission, which is looking into claims of campaign finance violations. Recall organizers say that's based on false information, and the Ethics Commission is abusing its investigatory authority. Joining me live right now is Oakland Mayor Shane Tao. Well, Mayor, the Oakland City Attorney was subpoenaed to appear today at the U.S. District Courthouse with those city documents. You have maintained you are not the focus of the investigation, but have you been asked to actually appear before the federal grand jury?
You know, again, those are matters on the ongoing investigation, so I really can't comment. I want to, but I can't comment on that.
Okay, and last week in our interview, you had said your partner, Andre Jones, had nothing to do with your administration. However, the federal subpoena is now requesting documents or communication between Mr. Jones and your campaign and administration, including meetings he might have attended. In light of this new information, would you like to clarify your original statements?
You know, the statement stands. And again, I cannot comment on these matters. I want to, but I can't because it's related to the ongoing investigation. And so those questions could be sent to either the U.S. Attorney's Office and or the City Attorney's Office.
But you were very forthcoming in our previous interview saying that he had nothing to do with your administration and that, in fact, he was, quote, hardly even been in my office.
Well, like I stated, like my statement stands.
Okay, thank you very much. The Oakland Army base that was decommissioned in 1999 was mentioned in that federal subpoena. As mayor, what has been your position in the past on the best use of that Army base?
Well, you know, I wasn't on the city council, nor was I mayor at the time of the decision making. And so I had no stance on the Army base in regards to, you know, who we should sell it to or how it should be utilized. Last year, at one point, you know, we were trying to figure out how to best utilize the Army base. And I know that there was discussion about how can, we bring tiny homes or possible RVs onto the site so that we can have more shelter spaces. So that was something that we had talked about internally. But in regards to the Army base itself and who's it sold to and all that transaction or what have you, that was not part of any time that I was elected.
This November, you will, of course, be fighting for your job. Supporters of your recall are under their own investigation by the Public Ethics Commission. Today, they denied any political action committee as being behind their main source of funding and said they have handed over all the information they are legally required to disclose. Their criticism is that this is all a distraction to take the heat off what's happening with you. How would you respond to that?
Well, let's just be clear that the recall campaign was set in motion before I was even sworn in, right? So I think it's incredible. It's an incredible disservice to our democratic process, to the voters, and to Oaklanders and our city. This is a distraction and a significant waste of taxpayer money. This is going to cost Oakland taxpayers upwards of $10 million. $10 million that we, the city, of course, are in a really hard climate budget right now that we don't have. And so I want to put that into context. For example, each OPD officer is budgeted for $325,000. That's roughly 31 officers that's going to cost for this recall campaign should it go through. And so again, as you stated, the Public Ethics Commission has sued the recall organizers because they refused to follow a subpoena. And so they were first subpoena and they refused to follow that subpoena, and now they're being sued by the Public Ethics Commission. And so what my administration is going to do is we're going to do our job and we're going to keep focused. This is my number one priority is the city of Oakland. We have done so much great things in just the short 18 months that we've been here, and we're not letting off of the gas pedal. We're going to continue to move forward because this is my passion. This is my love. This is what I love to do, is to serve the people and serve my city and get results.
As you navigate the FBI investigation, the federal subpoena, last week you told us you opened up a legal defense fund. Has that been set up, and who is helping to fund that?
Well, that is in the works to be set up. And so there has been no funding been able to put in because it's in the works to be set up.
And we're less than 90 days from the deadline to close the sale of the Coliseum. If that does not go through, it will mean drastic budget cuts to the city. Where does that deal stand right now?
Well, we are in the midst of negotiations and we are on track to sign the purchase and sale agreement by September 1. I am confident that the sale of the Coliseum will move forward and provide the additional resources to the city. This is work that I am working closely on to ensure that we do not only get the funds but that District 6, now it's in District 6, that the Coliseum is going to be developed. Let's be clear that for decades, many politicians and electeds have come and gone, investors have come and gone, and nothing has been developed here. And so in order for the city to create new monies so that we can stop taxing our property owners, but instead create new monies to provide for the basic services, that's what we need to do, and that's the goal. And so with that being said, I am very optimistic. You should be hearing some updates pretty soon, but I will do everything in my power to ensure those resources are invested when we receive them into critical public safety strategies.
You will meet that deadline.
Well, it's negotiation. It's negotiation. So what I can say is I am confident that the sale will go through. Of course, we know that I can't say that I'm sure just because anything can happen, but I am confident that the sale of the Coliseum will move forward.
Crime continues to be another major issue in the city of Oakland, all across the Bay Area and all across the East Bay cities. This morning, Governor Gavin Newsom announcing an increase in surge operations. How will this help the city of Oakland?
I call this, like I always say, this is how government is supposed to work for the people. And so, as you heard, the announcement from the governor this morning that he'll be providing more resources for our public safety efforts. The governor's office and my office, we have been working closely since day one of me coming into this administration. You have seen more CHP officers be brought into Oakland area since last year. So currently, we have CHP delivering 42 shifts a week in Oakland, and they will be increasing their CHP presence fourfold. That means to 162 shifts a week. This means the CHP will have presence 7 days a week to support and work in partnership with the Oakland Police Department, which we welcome. And we are deeply grateful to the governor for providing these critical resources to support Oakland's public safety strategy. And not just that, but the East Bay region and our strategy regionally, because of course we know crime is fluid. And so after years of rising crime rates prior to my administration, we are now seeing a steady decrease. And we know this in part because of the strong partnership between the Oakland Police Department and the California Highway Patrol, a partnership that we haven't seen this strong for a decade at least. And so we are very honored to be able to continue to have this very strong partnership and relationship with my office and the governor's office, and we thank him for his support.
Well, Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao, as always, thank you very much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ryan.